Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a controversial topic: the 7 Harley Davidson motorcycles only stupid people buy. Number 7. The 1975 Harley Davidson FLH 1200 Shovelhead. The Harley Davidson FLH 1200 Shovelhead, released in 1975, was a bike that promised touring comfort and power, but ended up earning a less flattering nickname, the Mobile Oil Spill. Powered by the infamous shovelhead engine, this bike was notorious for its constant oil leaks that often turned pristine garages into oily messes. Riders quickly learned that keeping oil in the bike was almost as challenging as keeping the bike running. Under the hood, or rather beneath the gas tank, was a 1,200 cubic centimeters shovelhead engine capable of 58 horsepower. While that might sound decent for the era, the problem wasn't the engine's output, it was its reliability, or lack thereof. Professional mechanics recall that these bikes required nearly double the maintenance of comparable models, with riders scheduling frequent trips to the shop for gasket replacements, valve adjustments, and other repairs just to keep the engine from overheating or stalling. And the weight. At over 760 pounds, the FLH 1200 made low-speed maneuvers a heart-pounding challenge. Riders found themselves struggling to balance this beast, especially with the bike's outdated suspension system that often failed to absorb bumps effectively. And don't even get us started on its overheating issues. Long-distance rides frequently ended on the side of the road, with riders waiting for the engine to cool down or for help to arrive. Some die-hard Harley fans might argue that its touring capabilities were ahead of its time, but those capabilities were often overshadowed by a laundry list of problems. The constant overheating, combined with the weight and poor handling, made this bike a nightmare for even the most experienced riders. To make matters worse, aftermarket solutions intended to fix the infamous oil leaks often created more problems, like warped gaskets or misaligned components. This bike wasn't just a drain on wallets, it was a drain on patience. And for that reason, the 1975 FLH 1200 Shovelhead firmly holds its place as a cautionary tale in Harley Davidson's history. But if you think this mobile oil spill is bad, wait until you hear about Harley's failed attempt to dominate the dirt bike market. Up next, a bike that couldn't even handle the terrain it was designed for. Stick around for number 6. Number 6. The Harley Davidson Baja 100. Coming in at number 6 is the Harley Davidson Baja 100, a bike that's infamous for being one of Harley's most misguided ventures. In the 1970s, Harley Davidson decided to dip its toes into the booming dirt bike market. Partnering with the Italian manufacturer Ermacchi, they set out to create an off-road machine that could rival the Japanese dominance in this segment. What they produced instead was an underwhelming and unreliable bike that dirt riders couldn't abandon fast enough. Let's break it down. The Baja 100 was equipped with a 100 cubic centimeters two-stroke engine that delivered a meager 12 horsepower. For comparison, Japanese dirt bikes of the time were not only lighter but also significantly more powerful, leaving the Baja 100 far behind on trails and motocross tracks. The bike's lack of power was painfully apparent when attempting even basic uphill climbs or rugged terrain. It simply couldn't deliver the torque needed for off-road challenges. The frame, which was supposed to be a sturdy backbone for the bike, ended up being one of its greatest weaknesses. Reports of stress cracks appearing after minimal use were widespread. For a dirt bike, which is expected to handle jumps, bumps, and rough trails, this was a fatal flaw. To make matters worse, the suspension system was subpar at best, making every bump and landing an uncomfortable jolt for the rider. Cooling issues were another major headache. The engine would overheat after just a short ride, especially in challenging off-road conditions. This wasn't just an inconvenience, it often led to breakdowns right in the middle of a trail, leaving riders stranded. Dealerships frequently received complaints about overheating and mechanical failures, and many Baja 100s spent more time in repair shops than on dirt trails. Harley's attempt to break into the dirt bike market alienated its loyal cruiser audience while failing to attract the off-road enthusiasts it was targeting. The bike's poor build quality and lack of competitive performance turned the Baja 100 into a laughingstock in the motocross community. By the time word got around about its flaws, sales plummeted, and Harley quietly discontinued the model. While the Baja 100 was a disaster in the dirt, our next bike failed to impress even in the entry-level cruiser market. Stick around for number 5. Number 5. The Harley Davidson Street 750. Coming in at number 5 is the Harley Davidson Street 750, a bike designed to target new riders and urban commuters. On paper, it was supposed to be Harley's answer to affordable entry-level motorcycles. In reality, it became a cautionary tale of how sacrificing quality for price can backfire. The Street 750 was introduced with a 749 cubic centimeters Revolution X liquid-cooled V-twin engine, producing around 54 horsepower and 44 pound-feet of torque. While these numbers were modest, they were suitable for the bike's intended purpose, navigating city streets. The lightweight frame and low seat height of just 25.7 inches made it approachable for beginners, but everything else about the bike fell apart under scrutiny. The biggest issue was quality control. Manufactured in India to cut costs, the Street 750 quickly gained a reputation for poor fit and finish. Riders complained about misaligned panels, inconsistent paint jobs, and rattling components. The electrical systems were another pain point, frequently failing in wet conditions, a massive oversight for a bike meant to be used in unpredictable urban weather. The braking system became a recurring nightmare. Owners reported that the brakes required constant adjustment to maintain proper functionality, and even then, stopping power was far from confidence-inspiring. This wasn't just a minor annoyance, it was a safety hazard. Suspension components didn't fare much better, deteriorating quickly under regular use and failing to provide the smooth ride Harley promised. While the starting price of around $7,599 seemed like a bargain for a Harley, many riders quickly realized they were paying more in repairs and maintenance than the bike was worth. Competing models like the Honda Rebel 500 or Yamaha Bolt offered better performance, reliability, and build quality for the same or often less money. The Street 750's lackluster performance and glaring defects tarnished Harley's reputation in the entry-level market. Dealerships were flooded with warranty claims, and many bikes sat unsold, gathering dust in showrooms. It was clear Harley had tried to cater to a new audience, but failed to deliver the quality associated with their brand. The Street 750 may have struggled to win over new riders, but our next pick tried to tackle an entirely different market: adventure touring. Stay tuned for number 4. Number 4, the Harley Davidson Pan America 1250. At number 4, we have Harley Davidson's first adventure touring motorcycle, the Pan America, introduced to challenge industry giants like BMW, KTM, and Yamaha. This was Harley's ambitious attempt to expand beyond cruisers and tap into the growing ADV market. Unfortunately, the initial release of the Pan America highlighted that even bold innovation can come with a learning curve. The Pan America was powered by the Revolution Max 1250 engine, a 1,252 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled V-twin, producing an impressive 150 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque. On paper, it was an engineering marvel, boasting variable valve timing, internal balancing, and a stressed member frame design that reduced overall weight to 503 pounds. Combined with a 6.8-inch TFT touchscreen, lean-sensitive ABS, traction control, and customizable ride modes, it seemed like Harley was ready to compete in the big leagues. However, early adopters discovered significant flaws. One of the standout issues was low-speed handling, which many found jerky and inconsistent, a deal breaker for a bike marketed as versatile and user-friendly. Harley's lack of experience in the adventure bike market became apparent with glitches in the electronics, including the highly touted adaptive ride height system, which sometimes failed to adjust properly. This left some riders feeling uneasy when coming to a stop, particularly shorter ones who relied on the feature for added stability. Critics also pointed out the polarizing design. While the shark nose fairing provided decent wind protection, its bulky aesthetic didn't resonate with many adventure riders who preferred sleek, rugged designs like BMW's GS series. The build quality was another weak spot, with reports of loose fasteners and components not holding up under harsh conditions. The starting price of $17,319 was competitive, but many were hesitant to invest in a first-generation Harley adventure bike, fearing high maintenance costs and limited aftermarket support compared to established brands. Despite its flaws, the Pan America did show promise, and Harley has since improved the model with updates. Up next, we'll dive into a cruiser that tried to merge old-school style with modern tech and failed spectacularly. Number 3, the Harley Davidson FXDR 114. Coming in at number 3 is the Harley Davidson FXDR 114, a bike that was supposed to be a groundbreaking fusion of drag-inspired inspired performance and modern cruiser appeal. Unveiled with a sleek, aggressive design and boasting Harley's mighty Milwaukee 8 114 engine, this model had all the makings of a powerhouse cruiser. Yet its flaws quickly overshadowed its potential, leaving dealers scrambling to unload these bikes. The Milwaukee 8 114 engine with 1,868 cubic centimeters of displacement churned out an impressive 119 pound-feet of torque. Straight-line performance was the FXDR's primary selling point, with its lightweight aluminum swing arm and 240mm rear tire giving it the aggressive stance of a drag bike. Riders were promised exhilarating acceleration and a modern edge that broke away from Harley's more traditional designs. However, the FXDR 114 had more than its fair share of issues. First and foremost, the bike's polarizing design alienated Harley's core audience. Its angular lines and unconventional styling didn't resonate with fans of Harley's classic cruisers, while its premium price tag of $18,999 deterred riders looking for value. On top of that, the forward foot controls and stretched handlebar position made long rides uncomfortable for many, particularly older riders who struggled with the bike's ergonomics. Handling was another sore point. While it excelled in straight-line performance, the heavy rear tire and wide profile made cornering awkward and cumbersome, especially for riders accustomed to more agile bikes. The bike's overall weight of 668 pounds didn't help either, making it difficult to maneuver in tight urban settings or on winding roads. Reliability concerns also surfaced, particularly with the exhaust system and suspension components, which didn't hold up well to heavy use. Many owners reported needing aftermarket upgrades to make the bike more comfortable and practical for regular riding. The FXDR 114 struggled to find its place in Harley's lineup, caught between being a performance cruiser and a touring alternative. If you thought this model had trouble finding its audience, wait until you hear about the next bike, a Harley that caused chaos in showrooms with one of the most notorious recalls in the company's history. Stay tuned for number 2. Number 2, the 2015 Harley Davidson Electra Glide Ultra Classic. At number 2, we have the 2015 Harley Davidson Electra Glide Ultra Classic, a touring heavyweight that promised luxury and reliability for long-distance riders. But this model became infamous for its catastrophic flaws, leaving countless owners stranded and frustrated. It's a bike that made headlines for all the wrong reasons, including one of the biggest recalls in Harley Davidson's history. The Ultra Classic was powered by the twin-cooled high-output twin-cam 102 engine, which delivered 102 pound-feet of torque. This engine was designed to handle the demands of cross-country touring, paired with a 6-speed cruise-drive transmission to ensure smooth performance on highways and mountain roads. The bike's full fairing, tour-pack luggage carrier, and 6.5-gallon fuel tank were all geared toward making it a luxury touring machine. But beneath this promising setup lay a host of critical issues. The most notorious was the faulty clutch system. The clutch had a dangerous tendency to disengage without warning, leaving riders unable to shift gears while in motion. This flaw led to Harley issuing a massive recall, but for many riders, the damage was already done, both to their trust and their wallets. Another glaring problem was the water pump, which suffered from a design oversight that caused imbalances in the cooling system. This led to overheating, which in turn caused excessive vibration that damaged other components of the bike. Mechanics frequently reported failures in the cooling system during regular maintenance, often requiring costly repairs or replacements. The Ultra Classic also struggled with tire alignment issues, leading to irregular wear patterns that demanded frequent replacements. This problem was amplified by the bike's hefty weight of nearly 900 pounds, which made handling cumbersome and increased the wear and tear on tires and suspension components. For touring riders who often ventured far from service centers, these breakdowns created significant headaches. Even Harley's loyalists found it hard to defend the Ultra Classic's shortcomings. Despite its luxurious features, including the boombox infotainment system, ergonomic seating, and abundant storage, the bike's mechanical failures overshadowed its benefits. The recall and subsequent warranty claims cost Harley millions, but the reputational damage was even harder to repair. The 2015 Electra Glide Ultra Classic is a stark reminder that even luxury touring bikes can fall short when critical design flaws go unchecked. But as bad as this recall was, nothing compares to the chaos caused by the #1 bike on our list. Up next, we'll explore a Harley model that nearly destroyed the company's reputation during its darkest era. Number 1. The 1969 to 1981 AMF era of Harley Davidson. Finally, taking the top spot is not one specific Harley Davidson model, but rather an entire era, the AMF years, 1969 to 1981. This was the period when Harley Davidson was owned by American Machine and Foundry, AMF, a time that nearly destroyed the brand's reputation and pushed the company to the brink of bankruptcy. When AMF took control, their primary goal was to maximize profits, and unfortunately, that came at the expense of quality control. The bikes that rolled out of Harley's factories during this time were riddled with critical defects. Engines leaked oil from nearly every gasket and seal, electrical systems shorted out even in mild rain, and key components, like bolts and brackets, would vibrate loose during normal operation. It was a mechanical disaster on wheels. Factory workers from this period later revealed that production quotas were prioritized over quality checks. This resulted in bikes leaving the assembly line with unfinished welds, misaligned parts, and poorly tuned engines. The phrase "hardly drivable" became a cruel nickname among riders and even appeared in internal AMF memos. One of the biggest issues was the shovelhead engine, a design plagued by overheating and poor durability. Riders nicknamed these bikes "oil spills on wheels" because the engines leaked more oil than they retained. The starter clutches were another notorious problem, failing so frequently that dealerships couldn't keep replacement parts in stock. Owners often had to push start their motorcycles, leading to frustration and ridicule from competitors' riders. Even the paint and finishes were subpar during this era, with colors fading or peeling within months. Some bikes had mismatched panels straight from the factory. The electrical systems were equally unreliable, often leaving riders stranded when headlights, turn signals, or ignition systems failed without warning. By 1981, Harley Davidson's market share had plummeted, with Japanese manufacturers like Honda and Kawasaki dominating the industry thanks to their reliable and affordable alternatives. AMF's cost-cutting measures had damaged Harley's reputation so severely that the company was forced into a management buyout to save itself from complete collapse. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of motorcycles. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and let us know in the comments which Harley Davidson stood out to you, or which one you'd avoid at all costs. Thanks for watching, ride safe, and we'll see you in the next one.